welcome. So as I said, we are going to talk about institutionalized stupidity. This will also tie in quite a lot into company values, company culture, and how that also affects people's way of working, I would say, in a company. And this about me having ADHD, why is that even a topic? Well, it is because it has shown that people who have got ADHD are a bit like the canary birds in a mine. We are really good at spotting flaws in companies, and that doesn't make us very popular. But before and then one more thing. So what is institutionalized stupidity? Basically, it is something that every organization, every company suffers from to a bigger or smaller degree. But before we actually dive into how this is shown, what happens, how it affects your business, I want you to think about a few questions. So have you ever heard anyone saying, give me the elevator pitch. Tell it in 3 bullet points. This is too much information, dumb it down for me. Or just give me the executive summary. Then think about what kind of people normally says that to you, and I bet it's not normally the team assistant who says that, right? And before we go on there even further, I would like you to see or think about if you ever heard this quote. It doesn't make sense to hire smart people to tell them what to do. We hire smart people to tell us what to do. And it was Steve Jobs who said that. He's always on all of the presentations, I know. And I should maybe warn you, because after this, the presentation goes downhill. It's probably going to be one of the ugliest PowerPoint presentations you've seen in your life. So if you've got sensitive eyes, maybe shield them or something like that. Now, I haven't met a single senior executive in any company who doesn't say that they absolutely adore Steve Jobs. Everything he did was amazing. His philosophy is great. But do they live it? I don't think so. So, I think I am fairly smart. I'm here speaking to you right now. For the 3rd time I'm actually here, so I must do something right. And I can even speak to children. However, I changed jobs a lot. Sometimes because I can't stand the place anymore, or sometimes because my colleagues can't stand me anymore. So what is happening then? Let's start to look at what companies say when they want to hire someone, at least what they usually tell me. We want to have holistic thinkers. We want to have people who can run with a project. We want self-starters. We want people who can see a problem. We want people who can actually make a footprint and change how we work. We want people to spot problems in the company. Self-going, strong people, people who can really push something through. Great, that's me. And I bet a lot of you as well. So what happens then? Well, the problem is that companies think they want disruptors. They think they want to have change managers. They think they want to have people who actually can stir the pot and make changes, right? The problem is that they don't really want what they think they want. Because companies, they want to have a cozy atmosphere. They want everybody to be happy. They want to have these all-hands meeting and, whatever big meetings where everybody's just applauding and everything is fantastic. We do everything right. We are exceptional. And as long as you go along with that and you don't say we have a problem here, or this strategy may actually fail because, hey, have you looked at these and these and these problems we have? All is good. But the thing is that transformation and change and improvements will always happen at the end of or outside of your comfort zone. And that actually hurts. Because change and transformation and making something that will make the company function better is not business as usual. It means that you need to disrupt something. And you need someone to question the status quo or question the decisions made previously or higher up in the company. And when I say the higher up, I'm pointing at the C-level right now, but it can be anyone higher up, really. So is it that the C-level is stupid? Because remember, they are actually the ones forming the company. They set the culture, they set the boundaries, they tell you how to work and what to focus on. So are they stupid? They might be stupid, but they are not necessarily unintelligent. Because, and now it starts to get interesting. High IQ is very often the catalyst and the foundation for real stupidity. This may sound like an oxymoron, but it's actually not. Let me give you an example or two. You all heard about climate change deniers. No, it doesn't exist. It's a hoax invented by China or whatever, right? The thing is that there's a lot of highly intelligent people out there who completely deny climate change, and they are good at denying climate change because they are intelligent. They have their numbers. They can pull numbers out of a hat, and they can use it any way they want because they are intelligent. They know how to convince you. Another funny example, I think, is Arthur Conan Doyle, the guy who wrote the books about Sherlock Holmes. Apparently, he was a very, very intelligent man. But he believed in spirits. He believed in ghosts. 2 schoolgirls actually tricked him into believing that they had taken a photo of some dancing fairies. Arthur Conan Doyle had a lot of smart and intelligent friends who tried to convince him that this was not really the case. There's no chance these schoolgirls can take a photo of dancing fairies because, first and foremost, fairies do not exist. But he believed in this. So he came up, I think this one is falling off. See? Yeah. Okay. He believed in it, and very strongly so. So he came up with more and more intelligent ways to defend his delusion and to convince others that, yes, he's actually right in believing that 2 schoolgirls can take a photo of dancing fairies. Then we have got the next level. It has been shown that political, religious beliefs, or other kind of internalized worldviews combined with high intelligence equals problems. Because, as I said, high IQ makes people able to find reasons for their own delusions and stay in them, and also convince others that they are right. Then we've got the 4th level. People who study a lot, people who reach a certain level in society or in a company, get a good position, C-level. They get something called earned dogmatism. And earned dogmatism basically means I have a position that gives me the right to be right. I have such good studies, or I have such a high position, that nobody can question me, even if there is an expert in his field who is saying this or that to me. I do not have to believe it because I'm the boss. So what happens then is that when you start to questioning status quo in a company, you're actually questioning the C-level for several reasons. First of all, they probably employed you, unless you are one of them. They have been longer in the company normally. They might have fought their way up to the top. So they are actually responsible for the problems the company currently are exposed to. So when you start to say to them, hey, we cannot go through with this strategy because we've got so bad system support, you are, without knowing it, you're criticizing them and their competence or what they have done in the past. You're pulling down their pants in public, so to speak, even though it might be very needed. So what does this lead to? Well, it has actually been proven that people who think outside the box, people who question the norms in any kind of organization, any kind of company, are punished. They are less often promoted. They less often receive salary increases in pair with others. They are very often locked out of discussions because that person isn't nice and cozy, right? That person will point out issues and problems in the company. And as companies want to just feel nice and cozy and hugging each other, it's going to be so nice because we are the best. That disrupts the image of the company. That leads to that other employees get careful. They see that if they question status quo or question decisions or strategies made without having complete and good information behind it, they get punished. So hence, people stop questioning. And what happens when you stop questioning status quo? You become stagnant. You can't really achieve real change. Of course, companies are not completely stagnant. No, we see change coming. There are new strategies. There are new ways of handling things. We want to expand here. We want to do that. Yes, we do. But the changes that happens are very often just lipstick on a pig. And if you put lipstick on a pig, it's still a pig underneath. So let me give you a few examples about how we, as people working in various companies and situations, tend to think. Let's say that we have a problem. The problem is that, well, people who focus on the immediate problem are a problem, first and foremost. So let's say that we have got a problem. I don't know if you can see this, but customers complain about the deliveries. That's the problem. I can imagine this happening, that a COO sees that, shit, people are complaining about the deliveries for one reason or another. That's the problem. Fix it. The person may very well go to customer service and say, can we fix something quick, like a special phone line for our best customers? Or can we do something else in order to at least ease this irritation that people feel about our deliveries? The problem is that that is not the problem. That is a symptom of a problem. Because first and foremost, it might be that we don't even know who how our premium customers are or what kind of carrier you need to select for them. It might be that there's a lot of manual work in the outbound or in the inbound and that we are messing up our products somewhere. As I said, premium customers cannot maybe be identified. And we have got suppliers maybe who are not using GTINs the way they should, and maybe we are completely dependent on GTINs in our logistics and our way of handling our products. Now we have got a whole bunch of problems. But I'm sorry to say these are not the problems either. These are also symptoms. Probably that is the problem. So what we tend to do is that we focus on the perceived problem, which in fact is a symptom, instead of focusing on the real problem. And why do we do that? Because if you want to focus on the real problem, you need to work harder. It will cost more. It will take longer to fix it. So what we do instead is that we put lipstick on the pig in order to solve the perceived problem. Another example is that we have got a company who wants to go through a big internationalization journey the next years. So what do? They employ someone with their experience. Nisse is his name in this case. So he is there to make reality out of this strategy, this vision. Now the values in the company says that you need to be data-driven. So Nisse gets to work. He starts to study FTE spend. He starts to study the system support, the integrations, God knows what, to make a good business case. Maybe even a projection. How is this, the FTE spend, etc., going to go up, probably exponentially, with a much more complex situation in your business? So Nisse is documenting all of this, probably creating a compendium with the whole business case. Lot of beautiful swim charts and God knows what. But then comes the presentation day, also known as Dumb It Down Day. And Nisse knows that this compendium, which actually contains all the information needed for the executive board or whatever to take the right decision, cannot be presented. Because we have been told, right? 3 bullet points. The elevator pitch. But the problem is that complex topics cannot be fully understood and explained and worked through with 3 or 4 bullet points. But that is the way the company works, because that is very often the case, that the format is more important than the content when you want to present it to someone. The layout is more important than what you actually write in there. So, a lot of information that is needed in order to actually take a good decision is omitted from this presentation because you can't squeeze it in 3 bullet points. And that means that the C-level or executive board or whoever needs to take this decision cannot take any decision because they don't have the information, although it has been prepared. It doesn't matter that there is a compendium of 200 pages somewhere, because that is also too much information, they will not read it. So that means that either no decision is taken, or the wrong decision is taken, or worst of all, in the presentation, the higher-up starts to criticize how the presentation has been done and do not listen to the actual message. Now, what happens then if Nisse is passionate about this? And he knows that this is the way we need to go. It will save money. It is going to make us more efficient. It will decrease the number of errors that we have in whatever part of the process. It will make us scale faster. He might start to persist. Do not do that at work, kids. Really, do not. Do not. Because what happens then is that Nisse is now difficult. Nisse now becomes one of these persons who is regarded as a problem because he has pointed out the problems. And that leads to that his colleagues, they learn that there's no meaning to come up with ideas or suggest something that hasn't already been suggested from higher up or from more powerful people. It doesn't pay off to think holistically because nobody cares. Focus on the small problem, fix this. Don't think about the rest. Don't think about what are the root causes for this problem. They also learn that being persistent and actually pushing for good changes is bad for your career. And they also, as I said, learn to smile and nod and applaud and be cozy because that's how we want things to be. If they complain at home. But this is not going to let the company actually flourish in a good way. So when we then tie this to company values and company culture, what I've just described, does that fit with any kind of company culture or company values that you've heard of? I haven't really heard about company values that support that kind of behavior within a company because it doesn't fit. What happens is the company culture and values, the values in the company culture that is sold to you during the recruitment process or when the company where you're already employed will reshape itself and come up with new values, they clashes with reality. They crash. And the effect of that is that the company culture becomes a demotivator for people working in the company. Was a very famous Swedish writer who was accused of being a women hater. And he said, no, I'm not a women hater at all. I love women, but I love them so much. So when I see their flaws, I get very irritated and sad. And that's a little bit what happens here. The company is not living up to the promise that they have given you. So then the question is, what can we do about it? It's definitely not easy. And I don't think that there's one answer to it, but I think it's very important to be aware of what can happen and how this works. And I would like to go back a bit to the values. So start walking the talk. Honor your values. Honor your company culture. Or take it away. It's better to not have any values that says we support people to think freely. We say that courageous innovation, we have each other's back, we want to turn every stone, blah, blah. Break the rules, whatever it can be. If you can't live up to it as a company, take it away. Don't lie to people about it. It will not make anyone happy. It may work really well when you want to recruit people in a tough market. But when you come in and you see that this is not a reality, then people are not so happy anymore. If you decide that the company values are important, let them be part of the yearly reviews. People who live the company values should be rewarded for that. People who do not should not be rewarded for it. No matter the position in a company, if someone is violating these cultures, because I really do believe that company values and company culture can be a safeguard against institutionalized stupidity. Because institutionalized stupidity is something that is like built in within every organization, built in with who we are as humans. But company values and company culture can actually be a kind of a medicine against that. But that means that everybody in the company needs to live it. It can't be that company values and company culture only applies to people from, senior managers and down, and then you higher up, you come in the hierarchy, you can do whatever you want. Because that actually means that you have got a class system in the company where some people can violate the laws and go free with it, and some people cannot. Encourage critical and holistic thinking. Instead of saying, no, we just focus on this problem that normally isn't actually a problem, that normally is a symptom of something far more urgent to fix if you want the company to be strong and sustainable from an economical and future perspective. As a manager, no matter what level you are, know your place. You don't know everything. Because if you did know everything, why do you need a team? Why do you need experts in this or that or that, if you anyway know best? Know your place. You have got experts working for you. You should let them speak. You should let them take decisions. Yes, you might still be responsible, ultimately responsible for the outcome of this or that. But you have your people because you trust them. That is why you have employed them. So know your place. And get rid of personal prestige. But basically, get rid of personal prestige is what all of this, in a sense, comes down to, I would say. And when things go sideways, because they will go sideways, there must be a possibility for people in the company to actually get support. I have been in companies where I have seen bullying happening, not against me, but against others, who have been pointing out issues and problems with processes or the organization, etc. But they have nowhere to turn for support. And they are in any way just regarded as difficult because so said someone quite high up in the organization, for example. Oh, by the way, I have 6 minutes left. I want to tell you another really stupid example of institutionalized stupidity, which was not in part here. I recently came across a company I was talking to who could not share documents for collaboration with external parties. It was forbidden. Because the information security in this company is so important. So they just say we can't share documents, not even for collaborating between our partners, our consultants, or whatever we use. We need to keep all the information securely within the company. May sound like a good idea then, right? But what happens? People download the documents, because of course they can do that. They upload the documents into their own G drive or something, private G drive, and they share it from there. Then my question is, how much security has actually this company gained by closing the doors completely? Right? And that's it for me. So thank you very much.
Hi, Claes. Thank you so much for your insightful presentation.
Thank you.
So basically you said that, of course, the changes are bringing disruption within the company. And these disruptions are challenging the status quo. I have a question for you. What's your best way to challenge the status quo in order to bring new changes without ruining your status quo?
Oh, you know what? Tell me that and I might not change jobs so often because I really do not know. What I try to do, and that is usually quite popular, I mean, be data-driven, right? Show, okay, what does this mean? The current situation, where are we going, and how does that affect, you know, our bottom line or something like that. And usually that works quite well to shed light on a problem. But that doesn't mean that the right decisions are taken later. Right? What I also use, and if I'm not mistaken, last year when I was here, about the virtual event, I showed a model that I have created in order to show the chain of problems. I call it the problem matrix. Basically, where you start to look at, okay, a bit like I did, if we go back, well, this can take some time to go back. Yeah, here. This is a very simplified model. But if you start working it like this and say, okay, this is the issue, but where does that come from? And where does that come from? And you can also go forward. You can say, okay, we want to do this. What would that entail in terms of increased complexity? That kind of map is usually something that everybody can actually consume, even though it's not 3 bullet points. So it's a simplified way of showing cause and effects of your issues. That can also work. But if you have a good idea, then please tell me, because I must say that I don't really know.
Thanks a lot. One more?
Yes. Yeah. Hi. Thank you so much for this. This was amazing. As a fellow individual disruptor, what would you actually recommend someone who's just entering or looking to enter a new company? What would you recommend such an individual to do to maybe find this institutionalized stupidity in advance and maybe not start a new job at a new workplace?
I would say that when you want to enter a company, you should interview your boss or your bosses as much as they interview you. Yeah, I mean, companies are very good at selling the values and the company culture and everything like that, right? But if you actually spend time interviewing them, having concrete examples or situations, they do not need to be, anchored in reality. But the same kind of situational questions we get when we get interviewed for a job, the same kind of situational questions you should ask your bosses. That is not a guarantee. But I think at least it will show a little bit of the mindset. And actually, when I was interviewing for a few companies in May, June last year, I said no to 3 of the companies due to the fact that I didn't believe in the way that they wanted to work and how they saw their structure. I had a big fight with one from a very big internet bank in Germany around that topic. So, yeah.
So, if feedback is not done by remunerating people for company values, how do you keep people on track for the company values? Like, if they go off track, how do you keep them on guard?
I don't think you can. I don't think you can. I think if you do not have the value and company culture as part of the 360 reviews, or whatever you call them, I don't think that you can actually supervise that this is being lived. Because if you don't have the 360 reviews, it's only one manager giving feedback to one employee, and there's not the whole view around, you are blind as a manager or at least partially blind. I have no idea how my people actually interact with some of the stakeholders on a daily basis. If I don't get feedback from them, yes, this person is living the values. I can give this example. I have no possibility to know.